Hey there, all my fast track superheroes. I hope everybody is staying safe, staying healthy, and being proactive with the time you've got. So I'm going to continue with the series that I've been going on with continuing with fast track transition services and covering the things that I would normally if I was there one-on-one with y'all. So last video I did talked about finances and kind of budgeting and how to manage your money and things like that. Kind of boring, but it's a good skill to have. So today is kind of related to that because you'll really need what we're talking about today in order to be able to have those skills. And that's what's called goal setting or goals. Now, I'm pretty sure a majority of you know what goals are and how to set them and things like that. So this will probably be a review for a lot of you. However, some of you may not know how to do it, and some of you may know what goals are, but maybe not how to set them and set them appropriately. So that's kind of what today is going to be about, is goals. So, like I mentioned last time, you kind of need goals in order to set up, savings and accounts and different things like that. So let's get on kind of figuring out what goals are. So what are goals? Goals are a person's motivation and effort towards the future or a desire for a specific result. Now, let's kind of break that down a little bit, okay? So, it's a person, so you watching the video or anybody else really, a motivation. So motivation is that feeling you get like you're really excited to do something and you're like, oh yeah, I'm ready, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do this thing. That's motivation and the effort. Now, you could have all the motivation in the world, but if you don't put effort or work into your goals, they're not gonna happen. And so effort is the motivation. So you're that feeling of like, yes, I'm gonna get things done, I'm gonna do things, bam, 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 bam. Effort is actually doing those things to complete whatever you want done. And towards the future, so it could be anything. Maybe you're wanting to go to college, maybe you're wanting to get a job right after school, maybe you're wanting to help control your emotions better, or whatever it is, or even it can be smaller things like I want to buy an Xbox or a PlayStation or whatever gaming console you want. Things like that, that's the goal. Now we got to figure out how we're going to get there. Here. And then a desire for a specific result. It's kind of similar. Or you want something, you got to do it and want to be able to do it to get that thing. Now, we're going to kind of break down goals into two different types. First one, we have our short term. Kind of like the name implies, it's short time frame. So I like to classify short-term goals from 1 to 3 months. So anything you can complete in 1 to 3 months, that's a short-term goal. So maybe you're like, okay, I want to exercise 5 days a week for the next 3 months. Okay, that's a short-term goal because it's within that 3-month guideline. Second one we have are what's called long-term goals. These are goals that are kind of farther in the future, from 6 months to a year. So maybe you're like, okay, a big one is maybe like losing weight or exercising more or eating healthy. Okay, I'm going to exercise 5 days a week for the next year, or I'm going to eat more healthy meals once or twice a week for the next year. Things like that, or next 6 months, whatever that time frame is, as long as it's 6 months to a year, that's your long-term goal. Or maybe you're a senior in high school and you're like, okay, I want to go to college. Okay, cool. Well, what are the steps you need to get it done, and how are you going to do it? So the thing with goals is, even if you have like a long-term goal of, say, okay, maybe you want to go to college, right? Going to college is your goal. Now there's a lot of other steps to get to that big goal, right? So you can set short-term goals, like 1 to 3 month goals, in that long-term goal. I know it can kind of seem really confusing, but think of it as like a pictorial like tree. So like your goal right here, this is like, oh, I'm gonna go to college right here. How do we do that? Okay, well, I gotta apply for it. How am I gonna pay for it? Things like that. So each of those things have it. Okay, what do I need to do for this application? more goals. So that's kind of where everything kind of comes together. Now, one other thing that's kind of important to realize is what's called SMART goals. SMART goals it's SMART is kind of an acronym kind of thing to help you remember how to set goals well. So it's SMART. So the S stands for specific. You need to be as specific as possible. So there's no so you can't be really be like, oh, well, I'm going to eat healthy. Okay. How many times a week? How many meals a week? How many, what are you going to do that? It needs to be specific to you and toward the goal. M, measurable. You gotta have a time frame. You gotta have a time frame. So maybe you'd be like, I'm going to eat healthy meals twice a day for the next 6 months. Okay, cool. That's measurable. Because you'd be like, did I do it this day? Yes. Did I do it here? Well, no. So then you re-go and okay, from now on, we're going to do it. The A, attainable. Can you actually do it? Whether that's physically, mentally, emotionally, whether you have the proper tools to do it. And if not, how are you going to get those proper tools? R, relevant. Is it important right now? Is it important to you? Why are you wanting this goal? Is it just because, well, I want it? Or do you have a reason for it? You really need a reason for it in order for it to stick and become a decent goal. Then we have the last one, T, time-based. It's got to be within a specific time frame. You have to set a deadline. You've got to be like, I'm going to complete this goal at this specific date, at this specific time. If not, then I didn't reach my goal. It's kind of a way to be pressure you into okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to save this amount of money so I can buy a car, or I can buy a laptop, or I can do whatever or for this thing, so you can do it and get things done. So really what I want you guys to think about is maybe setting some short-term goals for yourself and maybe your long-term goals. Well, what do you want to do? Your career and things. And think about, okay, what can I do now to better myself to reach my goal? So that kind of closes that lesson. And like I always like to end with a fast track superhero highlight of the week. We're going to talk about a man called Matt Murdock, or as you may know him more as Daredevil. Now, Daredevil was formerly known as Matt Murdock. Was actually, when he was a teen, he helped rescue a blind man from an oncoming truck. The funny and ironic thing is, that truck that sped and almost hit him actually had radioactive material in it that caused him later to go blind. And so he was saving a blind man, but ended up becoming blind himself because of the accident. Well, with Daredevil, one of his particular superpowers is really supersonic hearing and echolocation, trying to figure out where things are in place. Well, in order for him to really be good and hone in on this skill, he had to set goals of okay, I need to practice this so many times per day, or as much as I can, in order for me to do it. So he set up a training regimen for him to work on and train and work on this, and then working on martial arts skills and things like that to help him to be independent and be on his own. So it was really interesting to actually research that, and a lot of people know who Daredevil is, so it was really fun. So like I always want to say, I want everybody to remember, take a breath, take it easy, relax, and I want you to all remember to always look on the outside. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.